One Sunday morning, while organizing his financial documents, he noticed something that made him pause. There were several health insurance brochures on his table. Nand sighed. I spent days comparing car quotations before buying my car. But when it comes to health insurance, the one thing that can wipe out years of savings, I don't even know what these terms mean. He immediately picked up his phone and called Rakshak, the insurance advisor Neelkant had introduced him to a few months earlier.
Good morning, Rakshak. I need your help. I've decided to buy a medical insurance policy for myself and my family. I opened the policy brochure and within 5 minutes I was completely confused after reading so many terms in the brochure. Rakshak said, Nand, you've just asked the most important question that every buyer should ask before paying the first premium. Most people buy health insurance because someone tells them to. Very few understand what they're actually buying. Rakshak laughed. Perfect. Let's fix that today.
Rakshak placed two policies on the table. Both cost almost the same. One policy offered 5 lakh rupees coverage, the other offered 20 lakh rupees. If your hospital bill becomes 18 lakh rupees, Rakshak asked, which policy protects you? The 20 lakh rupee policy, Nand replied. Exactly. The sum insured is the maximum amount your insurance company will pay during a policy year. It is the foundation of every health insurance policy. He continued, medical inflation is increasing every year. A treatment that costs 5 lakh rupees today may cost 10 lakh rupees a few years later. So while choosing the sum insured, don't think about today's hospital bill. Think about tomorrow's. Rakshak smiled. And that's why the sum insured is not just a number on the policy. It is the financial shield standing between your family and a life-changing hospital bill. Rakshak continued, never assume every illness is covered. He pointed toward another page. Always check the coverage. It explains which illnesses are covered, which surgeries are covered, hospitalization benefits, daycare treatments, ICU expenses. Buying a policy without reading the coverage is like buying a car without opening the bonnet. A health insurance policy is not just about how much money it pays. It's about what situations it pays for. That's why experienced buyers spend time reading the coverage section. Rakshak smiled, because the real value of a health insurance policy isn't measured by its premium. It's measured by how completely it protects your family when they need it the most. Rakshak flipped another page. This section is even more important. These are the exclusions. Nand frowned. So even after paying premium, some things won't be covered? Exactly, Rakshak replied. Health insurance doesn't cover everything. Every policy has boundaries. Cosmetic procedures, experimental treatments, certain non-medical expenses, some illnesses during waiting periods. You must know what the insurer will never pay. He closed the policy booklet. A claim rejection doesn't always happen because the insurer acted unfairly. Sometimes it happens because the treatment was never covered under the policy in the first place. Health insurance protects you from unexpected hospital bills, but only if you first understand what the policy promises to pay and what it clearly does not. Rakshak drew a timeline. Insurance doesn't start covering everything immediately. There are different waiting periods. Initial waiting period, generally 30 days. Most health insurance policies have an initial waiting period of around 30 days. During this period, illnesses are generally not covered. However, accidents are usually covered from day one. Specific disease waiting period. Certain illnesses have their own waiting period. For example, some policies apply waiting periods to conditions like hernia, cataract, piles, or joint replacement. The exact diseases and duration depend on the insurer and the policy. Pre-existing disease waiting period. The insurer generally covers them only after the waiting period mentioned in the policy. Understanding these timelines prevents disappointment during claims. The waiting period rewards those who plan ahead.
The earlier you buy health insurance, the sooner every layer of protection becomes available for your family.
It refers to illnesses, injuries, or medical conditions that already existed before the policy was purchased, as defined by the policy terms. What if someone already has diabetes? Nand asked. That is called a pre-existing disease. The insurer will usually cover it only after the specified waiting period. Never hide such information. If you conceal medical history, the insurer may reject the claim. Health insurance is based on utmost good faith. You promise to disclose material medical information honestly. The insurer promises to provide protection according to the policy terms. If that trust is broken, claim difficulties can arise. Nand leaned back. So, hiding an illness to save a little premium can become far more expensive later. The purpose of health insurance is not to hide your medical history. It is to protect your future by being truthful about your past.
Rakshak smiled. This is where many families lose money. He showed 2 rooms. One cost 5,000 rupees per day, the other 12,000. If your policy has a room rent limit, choosing a more expensive room may increase many other hospital charges. Nand looked surprised. So choosing a deluxe room can increase my own payment? Exactly. Rakshak explained. In many policies that have a room rent limit, the insurer may apply proportionate deductions. Since the room costs more than your policy allows, other expenses linked to the room, such as doctor's visits, nursing charges, operation theatre charges, and some hospital services may also be reduced according to the policy terms. Whenever possible, prefer policies without room rent restrictions.
Rakshak opened his laptop and displayed 2 hospitals on the screen. Imagine these are the only 2 hospitals near your home. Hospital A, Hospital B. Both have experienced doctors. Both provide excellent treatment. But only one of them is part of your insurer's cashless hospital network. If you're admitted here, the insurer pays the hospital directly. And if the hospital isn't on the list, you may have to pay first. During a medical emergency, your first priority should be your loved one's health, not arranging money. A strong cashless hospital network helps ensure that your attention stays where it belongs.
Rakshak, now I understand cashless hospitals. But what happens if I go to a hospital that isn't in my insurer's network? Does my health insurance become useless? Rakshak smiled. Not at all. That's where reimbursement claims come into the picture. If treatment happens at a non-network hospital, you file a reimbursement claim. You pay the bill. Keep every document. You submit all the required documents to your insurance company. The insurer reviews the claim. If the hospitalization and expenses are covered under your policy, the eligible amount is reimbursed to you. Nand smiled. So, even though I paid first, I can recover the eligible expenses later? A reimbursement claim begins the moment you keep every hospital document safely. In medical insurance, good record keeping is just as important as choosing the right policy.
Rakshak wrote, hospital bill equal to 10 lakh rupees. Copay equal to 10%. You pay 1 lakh rupees. The insurer pays 9 lakh rupees. This sharing arrangement is called co-payment. Nand asked, why would anyone buy such a policy? Rakshak smiled. Because policies with co-payment often have lower premiums. It's a trade-off. You save a little money every year, but you agree to share the hospital expenses whenever a claim arises. The lower the copay, the better. The premium tells you what you pay to buy the policy. The co-payment tells you what you may still have to pay when you actually use it. Smart buyers compare both before making a decision.
Rakshak drew another example. Deductible 5 lakh rupees. Hospital bill 8 lakh rupees. You pay the first 5 lakh rupees. The insurer pays the remaining 3 lakh rupees. This feature is common in super top-up policies. Nand looked curious. Super top-up? Rakshak nodded. Imagine you already have a 5 lakh rupee health insurance policy from your employer. But you're worried that one major surgery could cost 15 lakh rupees. Instead of buying another expensive 15 lakh rupee policy, you buy a super top-up policy with a 5 lakh deductible. Nand leaned forward. So what happens if my hospital bill is 15 lakh rupees? Rakshak explained. The first 5 lakh rupee is generally covered by your existing base policy or paid by you if no other policy is available. After that, the super top-up policy begins paying the remaining eligible expenses according to its terms. Nand's eyes lit up. So the super top-up acts like a second layer of protection. Exactly. It's designed to protect you against very large medical expenses. A deductible is not a reduction in your insurance. It is the starting point from which your insurance begins to protect you. Understanding that starting point is essential before buying any super top-up policy.
What if I never make a claim? Nand asked. Rakshak replied, health insurance is bought with the hope that you'll never need it. But insurers also appreciate customers who don't make claims. That's why many policies reward you through something called the no-claim bonus, or NCB. Rakshak continued. Also remember, every insurer has different no-claim bonus rules. Some increase the sum insured, some offer premium discounts, some reduce the bonus after a claim. Others provide protection for the accumulated bonus through additional features. So always read the policy wording.
Rakshak walked to the corner of his office and picked up a jar. This jar is your sum insured. When all the water is used, the bottle is empty. He then picked up another full bottle and placed it beside the first. A policy with restoration benefit is like someone automatically placing another full bottle beside you after the first one becomes empty. Nand laughed. So the protection is refilled? Exactly. Nand asked, so can I use the restored amount for the same hospitalization? Rakshak replied, that depends entirely on the policy. Some policies restore the sum insured only for a subsequent and unrelated claim. Others may restore it more broadly. Some have additional conditions. Always read the policy wording carefully. Nand nodded. So I should never assume every restoration benefit works the same way? Correct. The restoration benefit doesn't increase your first claim. It protects you from the second, unexpected medical emergency. A good health insurance policy isn't just prepared for one crisis, it is prepared for the next one as well.
Years ago, many surgeries required patients to stay in the hospital for several days. But today, technology has made many treatments much faster. Nand asked, so people recover more quickly? Yes. Doctors can now perform many procedures using advanced equipment and minimally invasive techniques. As a result, patients often go home on the same day. Rakshak continued, cataract surgery is only one example. Many policies also cover eligible daycare treatments such as dialysis, chemotherapy, laser procedures, and several other medically necessary procedures that don't require a 24-hour hospital stay. These are daycare procedures. A good policy covers them. A good health insurance policy doesn't measure protection by the number of hours you spend in the hospital. It measures protection by the treatment you actually need.
Rakshak drew a simple timeline on his whiteboard. Feeling sick, to doctor consultation, blood tests, scans, hospital admission, surgery, discharge, medicines, follow-up visits. Nand asked, so why does health insurance include these costs? Rakshak smiled. Because they're directly connected to the hospitalization. A surgery cannot happen without diagnosis, and recovery doesn't end on the discharge day. That's why many health insurance policies also cover eligible pre- and post-hospitalization expenses, subject to the policy terms. The hospital bill isn't the only expense. Blood tests, doctor consultations, medicines, follow-up visits. Nand asked, so does every policy cover these expenses for the same number of days? Rakshak shook his head. No.
Every insurer specifies how many days before hospitalization and how many days after discharge are covered. The duration can vary. That's why you should always read the policy wording. A hospital admission is only one chapter of a patient's treatment. A good health insurance policy protects not just the surgery, but the diagnosis before it and the recovery after it. That's why understanding pre- and post-hospitalization benefits is just as important as understanding the sum insured.
Ambulance cover is another crucial feature. It helps pay for emergency transportation to the hospital, which can be a significant cost during urgent medical situations. Medical emergencies begin before reaching the hospital. Most good policies also cover ambulance charges up to specified limits. Nand asked, if my policy has a 20 lakh rupee sum insured, does that automatically mean every ICU expense is covered? Rakshak replied, not necessarily. You should always check how the policy treats ICU expenses. Some comprehensive policies cover eligible ICU charges without a separate cap. Others may have specific conditions or limits. Every policy is different, so never assume. Always read the policy wording. ICU cover ensures that if you require intensive care, your policy handles the high expenses associated with ventilators and specialized monitoring, protecting your savings. A hospital room helps a patient recover. An ICU helps save a patient's life. When every minute matters, the last thing a family should worry about is whether their health insurance adequately covers intensive care. As technology advances, look for policies that cover modern treatments like robotic surgeries or laser procedures, keeping you up to date with the latest medical capabilities. Medical science evolves. Robotic surgeries, laser procedures, advanced therapies. Ensure your policy covers modern treatments. Some comprehensive plans now offer Ayush treatment coverage, which includes alternative therapies like Ayurveda, yoga, Unani, Siddha, and homeopathy, if they are performed in a recognized hospital. So what exactly are consumables? Rakshak picked up a pair of surgical gloves, masks, syringes, and PPE kits from his desk. These are called consumables. Nand frowned. But if they're necessary for treatment, why wouldn't every health insurance policy pay for them? Rakshak replied, traditionally, many standard health insurance policies excluded several consumable items. The insurer would pay for the surgery, but not necessarily for every disposable item used during the treatment. Many standard policies don't pay for them unless you buy an additional cover. Rakshak picked up another brochure. Today, many insurers offer consumables cover. Sometimes it is included in premium plans, sometimes it is available as an add-on. It helps cover eligible consumable expenses according to the policy terms. Nand smiled. So this small feature can reduce unexpected out-of-pocket expenses? Exactly. Rakshak took out a notebook and wrote, sum insured equals 20 lakh rupees. Below it, he wrote, cataract surgery equals 50,000 rupees, sublimit. Rakshak drew a large bucket. On the bucket, he wrote, 20 lakh rupees, sum insured. Inside the bucket, he placed several smaller containers. Cataract, joint replacement, hernia, modern treatments, other treatments. Nand looked carefully. So, the large bucket is my total insurance. And some treatments have their own smaller limits? Exactly, Rakshak replied. The overall protection may be 20 lakh, but certain diseases or procedures may have separate maximum limits depending on the policy. The sum insured tells you the size of your protection. Disease-wise sublimits tell you how that protection may be distributed. Understanding both is the difference between buying a policy and understanding a policy. How do I know whether an insurer is reliable? Look at the claim settlement ratio. It tells you how consistently the insurer settles claims. If the claim settlement ratio is high, does it guarantee my claim will always be approved? Rakshak became serious. No. A claim is settled according to the terms and conditions of the policy.
If a treatment isn't covered or important information wasn't disclosed while buying the policy, the claim settlement ratio alone cannot change that. But never use this number alone. A high claim settlement ratio builds confidence, but it doesn't replace reading the policy. The best health insurance isn't chosen by one number. It is chosen by understanding the complete promise the insurer makes to your family.
The claim settlement ratio tells me how consistently an insurer settles claims. The incurred claim ratio, ICR, tells me how claims paid compare with premiums collected. The incurred claim ratio helps you understand whether an insurer's business appears balanced. It helps you understand the insurer's long-term sustainability. What if I want to change my insurer later? That's called portability. If done correctly, you can move to another insurer while retaining important continuity benefits. Nand asked if I forget to renew my policy before expiration date of the policy. What happens then? Rakshak replied, many health insurance policies provide a grace period. It gives you additional time to renew your policy after the due date. Rakshak continued, the grace period is generally meant to allow you to pay the renewal premium. It should not be treated as an extension of uninterrupted insurance coverage. If a hospitalization occurs after the policy has expired and before renewal is completed, coverage may not be available, depending on the policy terms. The grace period provides an opportunity to renew the policy without immediately losing certain continuity benefits, subject to the policy terms. Don't create an avoidable financial emergency by forgetting to renew it. The grace period is a valuable safety net, but the smartest habit is renewing your policy on time, every time.
What if I buy the policy and later realize it isn't suitable? Nand asked. Rakshak smiled. That's why insurers provide a free look period. You can review the policy carefully and, if eligible under the terms, return it within the allowed period.
Nand closed his notebook. I thought buying health insurance simply meant comparing premiums. Rakshak smiled. Premium is only the price. The policy wording determines whether your family is truly protected. People spend weeks comparing the price of a mobile phone, but they spend only 10 minutes buying a policy that may have to pay 20 lakh rupees during a medical emergency. Nand said, health insurance is not an expense. It is the shield that protects every other financial goal we've worked so hard to build. Rakshak smiled warmly. And that's why the best health insurance isn't the cheapest one. It's the one that stands by your family when they need it the most. Thank you for watching this video. We hope these insights empower you to navigate your health insurance options with clarity and confidence.